Okay, so this is the 2024 March reading and writing paper. Right. Again, even though you've done it 100 times, always read the instructions. Right. The total marks, right, and number of pages. So it's 16 pages. So always scroll through, right, or flip through physically, right. PDFs are not an issue, obviously, when you get the physical paper, right. When they ask you to open up the paper, not before they ask you to open up the paper in the examination hall, right, that could get you into trouble. So just flip through when they ask you to open the paper and check that you have all 16 pages. It's highly unlikely that you get a script that does not have all the pages that they mention, some of them blank, and if it's blank, it will mention that it's a blank page, right? But still, it's good to check. And here we have question text for exercise 1. Zoom out a bit more. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So
Yes, sir.
as long as it's readable. All right. So take a few minutes and just read through that and let me know when you're done. All right. So now that both of you are done reading, I asked you to read the text before looking at the questions, right? And that is the approach I follow, that's the approach I teach my students, and I recommend it, right? So it's not something that you have to adopt as your own approach. Uh, Reason being, right, the reason why I recommend this is once you've gone through it without knowing what you're going to be asked, you know very well what the text is about, the information, the text. And so, right, when you move on to the questions after this, right, which is, right, all of these, when you read the question, you're like, okay, fine, so I read that. And so it becomes easier for you to locate the answer, as opposed to if you don't read the text first and you read the question, then you go back and then you try to find the answer, and you, right, there's a greater chance that you would stumble, right? And because of that stumble, you might end up making a mistake. Now, some teachers in an exam situation recommend that it's better for students to read the question and then read the text just to find that particular answer, and that's what some students do as well. And I'm not against that. I just feel that it's safer to do as I, you know, my preference or my recommendation. It's a safer approach, but it takes a bit more time because you end up reading the text twice, right? And so that means that you need to work on your reading speed, right? You need to have better reading speed to be able to go through the text twice for each of these exercises. There are 4 exercises, so each of them, right, you need an extra few minutes to read the text first, then go to the questions, then reread the text to find the answer. Okay. Now, right, this is about musical stones called lithophones. And the first question, right, I can zoom in now. So, how are the stones usually displayed when they are played? Again, read the question carefully. Each word is important, right? Misunderstanding even a single word can cause confusion and therefore, right, an incorrect response. So, how are the stones usually displayed when they are played? That is the question. Any luck? Hello? Anyone there?
Sir, can you repeat?
Any luck finding the answer?
Yeah, it's the chosen stones are commonly attached to a wooden frame or sometimes they are simply placed on the ground.
Aima, what about you?
Sir, I actually got the same answer.
Okay. Now, the correct answer, you need to be specific, right? The correct answer and the expected answer is that they are attached to a wooden frame. That is the expected answer. And right, if you check the mark scheme, uh, right, they actually provide guidance or additional detail to uh, the answers to the questions based on how students might respond, have responded. And they mentioned that if you include the detail given the text, so it says they're commonly attached to a wooden frame or sometimes they're simply placed on the ground. So those things are kind of opposites, right? They contradict each other. Either you're, uh, attaching them to a wooden frame or you are placing them on the ground. So if you write both of them together, they negate each other and you will end up losing that mark. So the expected answer is only attached to a wooden frame. Okay. Now we could argue that, well, it says that they're sometimes simply placed on the ground. And yes, that could have been an answer, but that's not what the examiner is expecting or wanting. And that's where the examination factor comes in, that, you can't be certain of exactly what the examiner expects of you or how the examiner expects you to phrase the answer, right? And so if it's according to what they want, well and good. If it's not, then you would end up losing a mark here and there, right? And then that can only be remedied through practice. So we do as many past papers as possible and try to, you know, uh, get ourselves, what's the word for it? Mentally in the frame that we respond as the examiner would tend to want. Okay. Okay. Question 2. Who first discovered the stones in Daklak or Daklak, however this is pronounced? Right. So who first discovered the stones in Daklak?
Sir, actually, I have to go right now. I'm really very sorry. Actually, the thing is that we are going out urgently.
All right, that's not an issue. Obviously, right? Life happens. So, right, this is being recorded, so I'll upload it and then you can check it later.
I'm sorry, sir, but it's a medical
Yeah, yeah,
emergency.
sure, sure.
I
Just
will
just leave,
try.
leave, 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 leave. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Allah Hafiz.
Allah. All right, Afan. So it's just you and me now.
Yes.
Okay. So did you read the question? You want me to go back to it?
Yeah.
All right. So who
No, no.
discovered it first in Dakla?
It's some road builders.
Road builders is correct. Good. Okay. How many of the stones in Daklak were in good condition? Again,
It's
right? So
10.
10,
Yes.
and that is correct. So is it because you've attempted these papers before, or because you read
No,
the text
no, no, no.
first?
Yeah, because I read the text first.
Okay, so right, we are reaping benefits. Okay, where did the tests on the Daklak stones take place?
Paris.
Paris. Good. What did the Raglai people use the stones for? You read the text for this
It
one?
was to, I think I know. It was to prevent animals, something.
Yeah, so just take a look.
Uh, scare away predators that might
Scare
attack
away
their animals.
predators. Okay. All right, and then the last question is for 3 marks. Yeah. So what affects the range of sounds that the stones make? Three details. Right? So the stones make sounds. What affects the kind of sounds or the range of sounds they make? Three details. And this is from the entire text. So I have to zoom out again. So I have the whole thing on screen. And let me know when you found all 3 points. All right. So what do we have?
It is the quality of the stone,
Okay.
um, the thickness of each stone,
Okay.
and the sound it will produce depending on cuts made on stone surfaces.
Right. All three of those are correct. There is a fourth possible point, which is the length of the stone. Now,
Yes.
right now, right, there are four, and any three of these four, which you got the first three, would get you the marks, right? There are four possibilities, meaning another student could pick one over the other, and that's fine. Right now, in this question, you have those options, and in certain other questions and the exercises to follow, right? But not always, especially not for 1 mark questions or perhaps even 2 mark questions. Right?
Okay.
Okay. Exercise 2. Okay. So you've got 4 short texts, and then you've got to link the ideas or opinions with the person who actually had those ideas or opinions. So this is 4 young people who live by the sea. Articles, right? Why I love living by the sea. And I'm just going to scroll. So the first person's name is going to be out of screen. It's Amin. And yeah, there's the text. So again, go over it first. And then we move to the questions. Okay. So now moving to the questions. And this is, I'll actually keep it zoomed out because you'll have to check all of the right 4 pieces of writing. Right, and so which young person says that the location inspires them to be creative? And in your response over here, just write down the letter of the text, right? So A, B, C, or D. So who says that the location inspires them to be creative? All right, yes. So the correct answer is B. Now I'd ask you what over, even though it's correct, I still ask, right? What part of this text shows the creativity?
That after ordinary, it's I love anything active, but I also watch the waves. Now you might think it's a bit and everything about the waves.
Right. So it's particularly this part over here. I started taking photos and making interesting prints from them. Right. So that is, and the one that we took a photo, it doesn't, it's impossible to tell where the sea ends and the sky begins. Right. So that shows creativity. All right. Second, mentions being able to see the sea wherever they are in their house. So they can see the sea from anywhere in their house.
It's A.
It is A, yes. Okay. And it says over here in the second and third line, I get fantastic views from every window in my home. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Then admits to having an unusual opinion about an activity. Yes, it is C. So what part of C gives you that?
It's people laugh that local kids can surf before they can walk, all except me. It's just never appealed, I'm afraid.
Right. Right. So surfing is popular, but not for Kira. Describes an intention to gain some knowledge about something found locally. An intention to gain some knowledge about something found locally. All right. Could you repeat that?
D.
B,
Dom.
B for ball.
No, D.
Okay. Is it D? Well, what over here tells you that?
We found some really strange shells and even a part of a dinosaur fossil.
We found some really strange shells and even part of a dinosaur fossil. So that's something they found. But does that tell you that they're interested in gaining knowledge about that?
So is it B then? I'm really keen to find out more about them.
Yes, it is B. It is Joey, right? And so he mentions there are right at the end there are some rare seahorses that live in our area, and I'm keen to find out more about them. So that's telling you that he's probably going to he has an intent at least of getting more information about them. Okay, E explains their personal reaction to changes in their environment during the year. Changes in the environment during the year and their reaction to those changes.
D.
It is D. Uh, Again, so what tells you that's D?
I think it's because how Dom tells that how many people like the state of the tourists in winter and summer.
Right, right. And he says that for me, any season's perfect and all of that. Okay. Mentions why they thought, sorry, why they might choose to move from the area. Mentions why they might choose to move from the area. F.
A.
It is A. Yes. Right. And the reason is right? At the end, right, this Amin is trying to pursue engineering, right? And so,
Yes.
yeah, he might have to make some big decisions to follow his dream. Okay, mentions a benefit to health of living near the sea.
Is it C?
It is C, right? And what part tells you that? The health benefit?
It's. But what I do know is that when I lived in a city, I used to find that the air quality caused me a few problems. Since we moved here with the fresh sea air, that's not been the case at all.
Exactly. Good. All right. H describes a regular issue that annoys people living in the area. A regular issue that annoys people that live in the area. Right?
Dom.
Dom or D. Yes. Right. And he mentions that his parents get fed up during peak tourist season because the car parking is always full. And finally, compares the scenery in different places they have lived. Yes, the correct answer is A, right? And it's given right at the start, right? I grew up in the mountains away from the coast and then later talks about living by the sea, right? Okay, so
Yes.
we are done with exercise 2. All right, so our exercise 3 is next, but considering the time we have, I'm going to skip forward to exercise 5, which is the informal email, and assign that as homework. Right, I'll put it up on Google Classroom as well, so you can submit it there. And so the question is, you recently took part in an important concert at your school. Something surprising happened during the concert. Write an email to a friend about your experience in which you should include, right, information about, describing how you prepared for the concert, explain what happened that was surprising, and say what you did after the concert finished. 120 to 160 words is the word limit, right? And so that is the question that you'll have as homework. And that's it for this class, right?
Yes, sir. Every word count.
Every
Every
word,
word
yeah.
counts.
So, right, to the best of my understanding, every word does count, right? Again,
Okay.
again, keep in mind that the word limit is not strict in the sense that if you go over the limit, right, or in case every word doesn't count, for example, right, and one or two letter words don't count, it's not going to hurt you, as long as you're able to produce
Okay.
a good piece of writing that covers all the 3 bullet points, right? And if you do go over the word limit, if those 1 or 2 letter words, again, right, to the best of my understanding, everything counts. If it's a word, it counts. But if they don't, then well and good. And even if they do and you're over the limit, you will not be penalized just for being over the limit. The examiner will read what you've written and they will grade you on. Okay, so there is no negative marking. Oh, the student has written 10 words over the limit, right? We're going to deduct 1 mark. That's not how it works.
Okay.
Okay, you'll only end up losing marks by writing more, going over the limit because you spent more time on it. And so time management would become an issue in your exam. And if you're writing more, then the likelihood of you writing something irrelevant or your writing not being polished, and so the quality will go down, and so that will end up causing you to lose marks, not the word limit itself. Okay, all right. So I will see you
Okay.
in next class.
Allah.
Allah.